pra Oslo, pra sair no Oslodum. Bloco áspero da terra do bacalhau.
Oi, tudo bem? I'm Professor Jason. Welcome back to my Jumpstart Brazilian Portuguese course. In today's lesson, I'll be teaching you how to express likes and dislikes using the verb gostar. We've got plenty to cover, so let's get started. Vamos começar. Alright, just to give you an idea about what to expect in this lesson, here's an overview of the topics I'll be presenting. I'm going to start off by talking about the definition and the English equivalents of our verb gostar. Then I'll switch gears and present the forms or the conjugated forms of this verb in high-frequency tenses, like the present, simple past, imperfect, the compound future, the conditional, and the future subjunctive. Then, the main part of the lesson, we'll look at some examples of using gostar, first to talk about people, places, or things, and then to talk about activities that people like or enjoy doing. I'm going to have a slide where I compare and contrast gostar in Portuguese with gustar in Spanish. And then finally, I'll introduce some verbs that have similar meanings, right, if you want an alternative to gostar, such as curtir, adorar, and amar. Alright, so in terms of meaning, gostar usually means to like or to enjoy. If it's modified with an intensifier like muito or mais or bastante, it can even mean to love or to prefer. Now, its uses very reliably parallel those of the verbs to like or to enjoy in English. And unlike the verb gustar in Spanish, the syntax for using gostar aligns closely with English expression, as you can see from all these examples on the slide. The only small difference is that when using gostar, you'll always want to insert the preposition de, or one of its contracted forms, so do, da, dos, or das. Okay? So let's take a look at the example so you can see the parallels. In this case, we have gostar with a thing, British TV shows. She likes British TV shows. Ela gosta de séries de TV britânicas. She really likes British TV shows. Ela gosta muito de séries de TV britânicas. She likes to watch, so here switching to the verb. Ela gosta de assistir séries, right? My son does not like broccoli. Meu filho não gosta de brócolis. So you can see that is a word for word, right, parallel. My son does not like. Meu filho não gosta de brócolis. And then finally, if I want to insert the intensifier mais, he likes potatoes better. Ele gosta mais de batatas. Alright, so now that we understand the uses, right, and the basic syntax for gostar, let's move on to the forms in several high-frequency tenses, beginning with the present. If you've been watching my previous verb videos, you know that I'll show the forms in each tense and then give one simple example, right? So, first person singular, eu gosto, você gosta, or ela gosta, nós gostamos, vocês gostam, eles gostam. So, for example, we don't like Spanish class. We don't like our Spanish class. Nós não gostamos da aula de espanhol. Moving on to the simple past forms of gostar. Eu gostei, você gostou, nós gostamos, vocês gostaram. Meu amigo não gostou do presente. He didn't like the gift. Again, gostei, gostou, gostamos, gostaram. And here we have the forms for the other past tense, the imperfect, right? The tense that we use to illustrate or to talk about actions that were in progress or that don't have a real definable beginning or end point, that were going on in the past, right? Eu gostava, você gostava, ela gostava, nós gostávamos, and vocês ou elas gostavam, right? Did you like living in that house? Você gostava de morar nessa casa? Alright, if you wanted to say that somebody is gonna like something, they're going to like something, you would use this compound or periphrastic future form that we've seen with all the previous verbs. The forms are eu vou gostar, você vai gostar, or ele or ela vai gostar, nós vamos gostar, and you guys, vocês vão gostar, or they, elas vão gostar. Okay? For example, acho que seu pai não vai gostar da surpresa. I don't think he's going to like the surprise. On this slide, we have the conditional conjugations or forms of the verb gostar. I haven't always included this slide, but I wanted to do it gostar just because the form gostaria is so common, right? I would like. Would you like? I would like. We would like, okay? Gostaria, eu gostaria, você gostaria, ele gostaria, ela gostaria, nós gostaríamos, vocês gostariam, eles gostariam, elas gostariam. Okay, so for example, I would like to go to South Africa. Eu gostaria de conhecer a África do Sul. And finally, as with other verbs in this sequence, I'm going to go ahead and present the forms of the future subjunctive that are often going to follow the word if, right? Si, okay? More for recognition. So obviously when you hear these forms, they're talking about to like or to enjoy. They're forms of the verb gostar. The present first person singular of the future subjunctive is gostar. Se eu gostar. Você, se você gostar, right? Se ela gostar, se ele gostar. Se nós gostarmos, se vocês gostarem. Okay? So for example, if we like the car, future subjunctive, we don't know if we will like it, we may not have seen it, but if we do like it, se nós gostarmos do carro, vamos comprá-lo. We will buy it. All right, so for the purposes of this lesson, I've sort of split the uses of gostar. We just looked at the forms. We've talked about the definition. I've split up the uses of gostar sort of arbitrarily into two main uses. One is to talk about persons, places, or things, which we see on this slide. Then on the next slide, we'll talk about liking activities. So to use gostar to talk about enjoying or liking people, places, or things, you're just going to conjugate the verb gostar in the tense you want to use. You're going to add a form of the preposition de, often pronounced di or gi, and then the person, place, or thing. For example, I don't like that professor. Eu não gosto desse professor. Or, my sister used to like my best friend. Minha irmã gostava do meu melhor amigo. So, people, right? Now let's look at things or concepts or ideas. Meu amigo gosta de esportes. He doesn't like rice. Ele não gostava, or he didn't used to like rice. Ele não gostava de arroz. So things. One more thing. Vocês gostam de música em espanhol? Do you like music in Spanish, Spanish music? Vocês gostam de música em espanhol? And then finally, a place. Ela gostou muito da Itália. Ela gostou muito da Itália. Você gosta de praia? That can be the place, or it can just be the idea of going to the beach. Você gosta de praia? Likewise, and I think you can see the similarities with English syntax and expression, to use gostar to talk about activities, you just are going to conjugate gostar in the tense you want to use. You're going to add the preposition, a form of the preposition de, and then you're going to use the verb in the infinitive, right? In English, we would use either the infinitive or the ing form, okay? So let's look at some examples. My aunt likes to read magazines. Minha tia gosta de ler revistas. Ela gosta de ler revistas. So, gosta plus de plus ler, the infinitive form of the verb. The students did not used to like to study, but we changed that, didn't we? Os alunos não gostavam de estudar. Não gostavam de estudar. I could add muito. Os alunos não gostavam muito de estudar. Or a mini dialogue. Você gosta de cozinhar? So again, do you like to cook in English, or do you like cooking? Right? I can use the infinitive or the ing, that kind of progressive form. Você gosta de cozinhar? Não gosto, não. Gosto mais de comer fora. So using that same construction, gostar plus intensifier plus de plus an infinitive. Gosto mais de comer fora. I prefer, gosto mais is to prefer. I prefer eating out. Comer fora. Você gosta de assistir filmes? Do you like to watch or watching movies? Eu gostava muito de ir a esse parque. I used to like to go a lot, or I used to really like. Eu gostava muito de ir a esse parque. I used to really like to go to that park. Now, since I know that many people that are learning Portuguese already speak or study Spanish, when it makes sense to do so, I like to compare and contrast similar structures, or in this case, kind of dissimilar structures, right? Similar verbs. So the syntax of gostar in Portuguese really is closer to English than it is to that of Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, you know that when using gustar, right, in Spanish, gustar, the thing that you like is actually the subject of the sentence, so that the verb agrees with it, and you're in effect saying that something is pleasing to somebody, right? As in these examples. A mí no me gustan las peras. So in this case, las peras are the subject of the sentence, right? That's why the form gustan is third person plural. So the pears or pears are not pleasing to me. That's the Spanish syntax. Are sports pleasing to you? ¿Te gustan los deportes? Right? Or she really likes skiing. Or in the Spanish syntax, skiing is very pleasing to her. A ella. A ella le gusta mucho esquiar. However, as you can see from the middle set of examples, right? In Brazilian Portuguese, the structure is much more similar to that of English in that it follows typical subject, verb, object order. Someone likes something. Subject, verb, object. So the same examples using Brazilian Portuguese. Where I would say in Spanish, a mí no me gustan las peras. In Portuguese, I would say, eu não gosto de pera. Você gosta de esportes? Subject, verb, object. Você gosta de esportes? Ela gosta muito de esquiar. Ela gosta muito de esquiar. Okay? And of course, another difference between Spanish and Portuguese to point out is that Spanish typically doesn't use the verb gustar to express that somebody likes a person unless you want to convey that there's an actual romantic or sexual component to that attraction, right? But Portuguese does use gostar to express that you simply like a person. So again, it's more similar to the English usage of to like. Let's look at these examples. If I want to say, Susana's a great person, she's on our project team, I like her a lot, she's a great coworker. In Spanish, I might say, Susana me cae muy bien. A mí me cae muy bien Susana, right? There's a different expression. They don't use gustar. Because if I say, me gusta Susana, to most Spanish speakers, that sounds like I like her in a romantic, right? I'm attracted to Susana, right? Whereas in Brazilian Portuguese, you can use the verb gostar. It just depends on context. So if I say, eu gosto bastante dela, eu gosto bastante dela, it just means I really like her. She's a great girl. She's a great woman. I like working with her. Eu gosto bastante dela, right? Or it could have that romantic, sexual, sensual component, right? Depending on my intonation, right? Se eu falo, if I say, eu gosto bastante dela, it just depends, okay? All right, moving on to our last slide. Shortest Professor Jason lesson ever, perhaps. What I wanted to do on this last segment of the lesson was to introduce some alternatives, some similar verbs that you may hear. They're very common verbs in Brazilian Portuguese, extremely common. Not as common as gostar, but close. And you may want to use them just to mix it up a little bit, right? So the verb curtir means to like or to enjoy. Very similar in meaning to gostar. Adorar, right, means to really like something. And of course, amar means to love to do something. Very similar in English when you say, oh man, she loves pizza, or I love traveling, right? You can use the verb in Portuguese, amar. So let's back up. Let's look at some examples with curtir, which again means to enjoy something. Another use of curtir is the social media likes, like a like on Facebook, a like on Instagram. They use the verb curtir and the noun curtidas or curtida, right? So you can say dar curtidas. But let's use the verb. Minha irmã curte muitas fotos no Instagram. Minha irmã curte muitas fotos no Instagram. She likes a lot of pictures on that social media platform. Ela mora sozinha, mas não curte cozinhar. She doesn't enjoy cooking. Here I could say, ela não gosta de cozinhar. Or I can say, ela não curte cozinhar. Você curtiu, that's the simple past. Você curtiu as suas férias? Did you enjoy them, right? Did you enjoy your vacation? Você curtiu as suas férias? It's a very common question. And that verb is usually used, curtir as férias. So let's look at some examples with adorar. Eu adoro filmes de ficção científica. I really like sci-fi movies. Eu adoro filmes de ficção científica, right? I really like them. Or, my daughter really, really enjoys playing tennis. A minha filha adora jogar tênis. Adora jogar tênis. Okay? You should watch that video. You're going to love it. You're really going to like it. Você deveria ver esse vídeo. Vai adorar. Você vai adorar. And then finally, I already sort of gave away the examples for amar. She loves pizza. Ela ama pizza. Or I love traveling. Eu amo viajar. So these are just some common alternatives, practically synonyms in Portuguese for the verb gostar. All right, that's it for today's lesson. Hope you found it to be informative and useful. If so, would you please like, comment, and share with others? Don't forget to add and follow me on social media for updates, and be sure to come back to the Professor Jason channel again soon. See you next time. Até breve. Ciao.
Eu vou pra Oslo, pra sair no Oslodum. Um bloco asfo da terra do